Are we centered? Are we focused? Emotionally? Physically? Here we go. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I have something really special to share with you. I have been waiting for several months now to do this. I had to wait to get things into a seamstress, wait to get them back, find a good time to film, but today I am finally sharing with you the thrifted pieces that I had altered. I took them to a local seamstress. I am so excited to share these alterations. She was excited to do them because she had never done anything like that before, so I will give you a breakdown of the price. I can't tell you exactly like each item because it was on the receipt that I then gave back to her when I paid. However, in total, I only paid $221, and it's a lot of stuff. Actually, one piece I don't have back yet because she realized that it's a skirt. Excuse me, gosh, my throat. It's a skirt, and she realized that the front wasn't entirely even, so she's just making some fixes to that. I will get it back, but just so you know, that was another piece that won't get shown today, but that certainly is included in that $221. I think that is a phenomenal price. Now, I think there are some things that would be beyond her skill level, which is totally fine, but I'm really happy with all of these. I'll get into some mistakes I made and what I would do differently. There will be cutaways to show you some of the like full-length shots of the item, but to start out with, let's get into jackets. That's why I'm wearing this. About the price, I said it was $221 for the total cost of alterations. This right here is a silk and linen jacket, okay? And pretty much all of these, I'll try to give you an estimate if I remember the exact price of the thing when I paid for it in the thrift store. However, they're all under $10. Some of them were $1, some of them were $3. This piece was maybe about $5, and I just love the texture of the tweed. I love texture jackets anyway, any way to bring more color and texture into my outfit for a bargain, right? I love. This is silk and linen, and if I were to buy this new, it would easily be over $200. So I had this jacket cropped. If you've been following me on Instagram, you'll know that I've been loving like the 70s wide leg jeans. I wear a lot of high-waisted skirts. And when it comes to thrifting, it's so important to look at the potential for a piece and not just as is, because that's something that really turns people off to thrifting. It does take a lot of time, and I'm absolutely privileged to be able to spend the time doing that. I then think it's a wonderful cycle where I take care of these things, and if I grow out of them physically or just like style-wise, I then donate them and hopefully someone else can give them a good life. Now we have another jacket. I actually think I'd like this with a more colorful top on, maybe something orange or pink, because it is just a plain gray jacket. I also had this cropped and I had the sleeves shortened, but it is a beautiful wool jacket. It cost me $3 when I bought it in a thrift store. And it is very much that, like, just slightly oversized, a little bit boxy. I had the sleeves cut because they were way too long. They were coming down to my knuckles, and the jacket was also quite long. I'll insert a picture pre-alteration so you can see, but it completely drowned me, but the fabric was so incredible. She completely removed the buttons on the cuff simply because like she just had to for making the sleeve shorter. I think that, what do you think about this? Like having it be rolled up. I know people use the bands to keep these high. I've always struggled with that, with using like a hair tie. It always looks really obvious. How do they do it? Is there like a trick to folding the fabric? Because whenever I try to do the whole band trick thing, there's always a really obvious fold. What do you think about these proportions with the sleeves rolled up? I think that this jacket has so many possibilities in my wardrobe, and I can certainly wear it for work, maybe with like high-waisted dark jeans or one of my skirts. Yeah, very happy with this. One more jacket to show you before we get into skirts and dresses. This wasn't a major alteration, it was just a little fix. So this, let me see, this was made of wool, nylon, and rayon. It was made in Switzerland when it was originally produced. I paid a couple bucks for it, and it is a really nice texture. It has blue and green, two of my favorite colors. I mean, I say that and every time I backtrack because I love all of the colors. My purple and pink, they're definitely up there. But this was pretty worn. It had a couple holes in it. There's actually one on the back that I didn't even notice. It's pretty minor. However, there was one obvious one. Getting to my actual point, goodness, I know how to talk in a circle. There was a hole that was right here on the shoulder, and since you see it when you're looking directly at me, it was quite obvious. I just had her find a matching thread and patch it up just a little bit. She did an incredible job. When you look closely at it, you can see the slight change in texture right there, but I think between, you know, my big hair and the darker color, now it's a little bit hidden. She did such a good job of matching the color and the texture. It's not really noticeable. It's starting out with one of my favorite skirts. I was so excited to get this back. I love the weight of this fabric. You just don't see it anymore. The issue with this is that it was a bit too tight. If I wanted to have a sizable lunch or something like that, this was no longer comfortable. But this was a really easy fix. So if you see something, especially a skirt or a dress that is either just a bit too big or a bit too tight, those are really easy fixes. She took these clips here, so the skirt just closes with these hooks. She just moved them a bit, so I had that little bit extra room. Otherwise, the skirt just buttons up the front. You cannot tell whatsoever that an alteration was made. She did leave the original hook in its place, and I asked her not to cut anything, not to remove anything. You know, like, if my weight fluctuates, that's the thing I like about these things. Like, you can always move it a little bit back, you can move it a little bit forward. So this is the first skirt that I had changed. The next skirt, this one was a little bit too big. This is a wool skirt that was made in Guatemala. I think I only paid about $5 for it. It's the color, obviously, that drew me in. I actually love to wear this with orange, and whenever I go out, people ask me if I'm a Knicks fan. It didn't even occur to me when I was putting those colors together that they were the Knicks colors, but it's a beautiful, rich, bluish purple color, and orange really pops with it. Hey there, I decided to edit out my entire piece of footage because I was rambling a ton and really not saying much of anything. So as you can see, this skirt was a little bit too big. It was a really easy fix though. I just had her move the buttons. I didn't want her to cut off any bit of fabric, so there is some overlap when I have it fully buttoned up, but that gives me the versatility. Should my weight ever fluctuate, should my waist get bigger, then I can move those buttons back and I can still make use of that skirt. I love this, just the full midi skirt. It is really playful and fun. You can see here it just has that slit at the top that you step into, and then the buttons nip it in at the waist. Looks great with heels, flats, loafers, tennis shoes, you name it. I adore this skirt. Final skirt before we move into dresses. This was just a really simple fix. She took this skirt and she made it shorter. It is still knee length, but I loved the pattern. I think that this is a Prince of Wales check. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was just a beautiful, simple pattern. It's such a nice fabric and it's fully lined. With hemming it, she obviously had to cut the internal line. Usually, this has been my experience, when people are hemming things, how they charge is obviously based on how much work they have to do. More layers means more work. So there was a slightly higher price for this than let's say something with multiple layers. But it fit me perfectly in the waist. It just skims over my hips. It's not too tight. But when I tried it on, it was a really unflattering length. It was like just above my ankles. So not anything I would actually wear now, not remotely modern, and there was no way for me to dress it up. And even a brand new skirt, a new modern skirt, it might not hit you exactly where you feel it's the most flattering. The more flattering you think it is, the more you're likely to wear it, so you're going to get more use out of your clothes if you just make those tiny alterations. I've seen people, like I've actually taken things to the dry cleaner and they've hemmed things for about 10 bucks. If you shop at Nordstrom, their hemming services are relatively inexpensive, and if you have the Nordstrom card, there's like further perks. Yeah, but this is the last skirt, just a really simple fix. First dress to show you, this one came with some lessons that I learned in this experience. I've actually shown this already on my Instagram. I couldn't wait to wear it, so I styled it up with black boots. I think I wore it with pearls, I'm not sure, but I will have cutaways to show you the full thing all done up. I had this cut, like I was saying with the skirt about finding like that perfect length for you. I wanted this to be a mini dress. It is a shift dress, which I don't think I always suit because there's not any waist emphasis. And because of like the casual cotton style, I also tried nipping this in with a belt and it just didn't work. There's something about the fabric, just the way this whole thing is cut, it didn't quite work with a belt. So I thought, well, maybe if I make this shorter, like a true mini dress, maybe I'll feel like it's more flattering because you'll see more leg and just the overall thing would improve. This is a beautiful cotton dress. I love the colors. My husband is not keen on this dress, but I love it. Just all the reds, the purples, these are my favorite colors. So obviously I wear this with my red bags. It works with black bags, obviously. The pearls, just more drama with this dress, like drama from head to toe. I wear it with platforms. I am so glad to finally get to wear it. So I made this shorter, and the other thing is I had the sleeves made shorter. This is something that I learned. This was completely my fault. The sleeves were made a little bit shorter than I wanted. So we were very specific when going through the length of the dress. I showed her exactly where I wanted it to fall, and then I was a little bit conservative and just like put on a little bit more, because in my experience they always make it a tiny bit shorter, just somehow just translating what I want to what they want. I've often found that things end up a smidge shorter than I intended, so I accounted for that when I was describing the length I wanted. With the sleeves, we just moved really quickly through it, and we were just like, oh yeah, about here, and then moved on to the next thing. That was my mistake, and so the fact that it's not quite perfect, I think it's really important to take accountability for those things. It still looks good, no problems, but keep that in mind. If you are making alterations, you can make things shorter, you cannot make things longer unless they keep a bunch of extra fabric tucked in, hemmed up. But with something like the sleeve, you wouldn't necessarily want that extra bulk anyway. You see what I'm saying? Just be as specific as you want. That's totally fine. You're not being needy, you're not being picky, you're paying for an alteration, and then it's your job to be as clear as possible. Last dress to show you, it is just a simple red and white gingham dress. It is 100% silk. This was $3 when I bought it. It's just a simple shift dress, not anything too complicated. And I felt like my shape, very much the last shift dress, I felt like my shape was just a little bit lost in it. It wasn't exciting me when I put it on, so I never wore this, but I was really intrigued by the pattern. I loved the sheen on it, so I thought maybe making it a little bit shorter will be more flattering, and I think it's improved it. You'll see in the cutaways, but I just find it more flattering on me. I am so excited to wear this summertime. It screams summer picnic. I mean, my husband thinks it looks like a tablecloth, but I just think it's adorable. I actually want to, I really want to wear this just with white sneakers and my lilac micro bag, Or even the red peekaboo I think would be adorable. This was also a little bit outside my comfort zone, like very ladies lunching kind of thing, and I wanted to make it quirkier. I think I'm a kind of quirky, weird person, and so making it a little bit more flirty rather than little girlish, like making it a little bit shorter so you see some leg, and then maybe pairing it with unconventional accessories, like really dressing it down with sneakers or something. I think this will be really cute. But what I was getting at was I love how thrifting allows me to experiment on a budget, and then if it doesn't work out, it's still a beautiful dress and someone else would certainly get some use out of it. So, and I'm not changing them in this crazy monstrous way. Someone would easily get the use out of this. Even if they're more petite and they want it a little bit longer, it would work really well. Yeah, this is the last dress. Wow, this is going to be a long video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do have a quick question before I let you go, and I brought out a prop just to show you as an example, but I have a lot of coats. I would love to share them. They are primarily thrifted, but I have a lot of them. There wouldn't be so much talking like with going through alterations and stuff, but I'm wondering, one, is this something that anyone would be interested in? And two, how do you think it would be interesting to see? Should it just be like a quick try on, just like real style, just one in, one out, or holding them up, putting them on, talking about them a little bit, where they came from, what it's made of? I would love to know. Mix and match, but I should preface this. I have a lot of coats. I have traveled quite a bit and they are one of my favorite accessories. I live in a colder climate also, so I actually have a lot of opportunity to wear them. I brought this out because it is one of my most recent finds. It is 100% silk. It's really, really thick. It is a beautiful, like raspberry red coat. And I actually wore this over top of the one shift dress with all the colors. I wore that and showed it on Instagram. So definitely follow me on Instagram if you're looking for more outfit inspo. I like taking these old vintage pieces and then making them feel a little bit more modern, like in my own little weird way. But that is enough rambling from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye. Girl, is that a thing? I don't know. It's an adorable dress. And I don't know how adorable I am, or at least like in how I think of myself in my head. I'm like, I'm fierce, I'm strong.